Hi there. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kory. I'm the pastor at West End Church. And I'm coming to you today from one of my favorite places to be. It's a field near my house. I love this place because it reminds me of the meadow that was behind the house that I grew up in. You know, that meadow was a place where I fought imaginary enemies with a wooden sword. I created stories and had so many adventures in that meadow. It was a place that symbolized possibilities. It symbolized everything that could be. And I love being in a place that reminds me of possibility. And that possibility is so evident at a time of year like this, right? I look around me and I see last year's growth. I see the dry, brown grasses that grew up last year. Forgive me, scientists, I know technically it's not dead, but as a non-scientist, a layperson, I look around and I see death. I see something that looks to be dead. And yet when we look more closely in a field like this, it's hard to see, but new life is on the way. Green grasses, this year's growth, are starting to come through. They're starting to grow up all around us. It might be hard to see yet, but new life is on its way. And I think that's such an important thing to be reminded of today on Good Friday. On its own, there's not much that's good about Good Friday. On Good Friday, we call this day good only because of what's coming. On Good Friday itself, an innocent man is arrested on trumped-up charges of trying to incite a rebellion against the Roman Empire. On Good Friday, this man is tried with a sham trial with a governor who's just so concerned only with getting things over and done with that he just washes his hands and isn't concerned with justice at all. On this day, this innocent man who only 5 days ago was entered into the city to cheers and praises and people dancing and yelling in the streets, now today is met by an angry mob calling for his death. On Good Friday, that innocent man is hung to die on an ancient torture device that was designed to maximize pain and suffering. Today, a stone rolls in front of a tomb. The lifeless body of Jesus inside. The story seeming to be over. There's very little good about Good Friday on its own. It's only good because of what's coming. It's hard to see, but new life is coming. You see, we see Good Friday as good because of what happens on Easter Sunday. Because that lifeless body is raised to new life. Death does not have the final word over him or over any of us. On Good Friday, a man is hung on a torture device. But on Easter Sunday, in light of what happens on Easter Sunday, that torture device isn't evidence of pain and suffering, but it's a symbol of the one who took our sin, who took all the ways that this world is not the way it's supposed to be, and took it on himself. Good Friday is good because even though he faced a sham trial, we can declare, because of what happens on Easter Sunday, that this Jesus is a good and righteous judge whose heart beats for justice, who is fixing what's broken everywhere, and who will right all the wrongs in the world. We can declare that Friday is good because of what's coming. That even though he is arrested and tried on the claim that he is trying to incite rebellion against the Roman Empire, it turns out that this Jesus is actually creating a new world order. That he is ushering in an entire new way of being in the world, a new creation. Where the center of that new creation is the law of love for one another. The heart of that new creation is giving ourselves for each other. The heart of that new creation is not power and authority and the old ways of living in this world, but the heart of that new creation is service and sacrifice. It's hard to see, but new life is on its way. It's hard to see on Friday, but new life is on its way. I think we need that reminder in the middle of a global pandemic. We're stuck at our houses. We're quarantined unless we're essential workers going about our essential business. We turn on the news, we go to Facebook, we go to wherever we get our information, and it's flooded with so much bad news with a few bright spots in between, but so much bad news. Every day we are given an updated count of the number of cases of people who have been diagnosed with the virus and the number of people who have died from the virus. Every day. And yet, friends, Good Friday reminds us that it's hard to see, but like the grass beginning to sprout up in the middle of last year's growth, new life is on its way. Just as Jesus comes and ushers in this new creation, this new way of being, friends, new life is breaking in all around us, even on Good Friday, even in the middle of a global pandemic. New life is on its way. We see that new life when we see sidewalk chalk encouraging and uplifting healthcare workers on their way in to the hospitals. We see that new life when we see that hope will not give up. We see that new life when we realize that God is inviting us to a new way of being. We see that new life when we see friends and neighbors going out of their way to help each other, to make sure that people have what they need, going out of their way to get what people need. It's hard to see, but new life is on its way. The story of Good Friday, the day of Good Friday, reminds us that death does not have the final word. Good Friday reminds us that even when it's hard to see, new life is on its way. Friends, there's hope. There's hope not just for this pandemic. We turn on the news and we do see some good news. We see signs that maybe things are starting to slow down in some of the hot spots. There's signs that life someday will return to something closer to what we know as normal. New life is on its way. But more than that, like this field around me, the world is full of endless possibilities of how our life can be transformed by the new life that Jesus is bringing, by the new way of being in this world that Jesus offers to us. It's hard to see, but new life is coming. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.